Good evening. Not quite. I did this last week as well with a 3 o'clock kickoff, but here we are. I hope you're all good. We finished 1-0. We are firmly got our eyes on the Liverpool game. Keane will keep us updated, I'm sure. Oh, man. Bit of a laboured performance today, but we got the job done. Keane, Jeff, Nathan, Freddie, thanks all very much for joining me. Keane, how are you feeling after that one? I know you're a little bit distracted, but try and help me if you can, brother.
Yeah, look, I'm good. Finally got a win away from home. It was a good professional performance, and I think that's the best way of looking at it. Casemiro back to his best today. So yeah, look, it was finally good to get a win away from Old Trafford because it feels like for an age since that's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Our run of away form has been pretty poor this season, but we managed to get a 3 points today, and obviously a professional performance, as you said. Jeff, great to have you with us, buddy. I hope you're well, my man. I know it's a little bit later where you are, but how are you feeling
Mhm.
after that?
But okay. Relatively, it's a good performance. As Keane said, our week form was terrible, but could have been more. Could have been more. We This game just showed what we need. A very tight game.
A goal scorer.
Gone
Yeah.
everywhere. Right. Yep. If your two good chances come from your defensive midfielder, then that's a problem. See. So, but overall, good 3 points. Hope Villa nick one, so we can relax the last game. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll exactly. Hopefully we can relax last game. We only probably need a point. Of course, we got Chelsea as well, so hopefully we'll be smacking them up next week at least. But anyway, Nathan, thanks for joining me again, brother. I hope you're very, very well. How you feeling after that performance?
Yeah, it was really. It could have been better. I would have liked to have seen it get killed off really quickly, like the first sort of 20 minutes or so. Seemed really dominant, but no, like Jeff said, really professional performance. Got there in the end. Just needed to kill it off pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely right. I think Jeff sort of hit the nail on the head there. I think that's been a very telling point in the last few games in particular. You know, we're certainly missing that goal scoring threat, aren't we? We seem to be building up play very well. We've got a lot of creativity, lots of people going in on Bruno today. I don't think he was bad at all. I thought he was actually quite instrumental in a lot of things that we did. But obviously couldn't get the goal, couldn't get more goals, and that's where we're really struggling. So that, listen, we can talk about goalkeepers, we can talk about midfielders, which are all big things that we need, but a number 9 is something we
Right.
absolutely need. Freddie, thank you for coming on, buddy. It's been a couple of weeks since I've seen you, mate. I hope you're really well. Thanks for joining us. How are you feeling after that, buddy?
Good to be back. Hope you're well, Mark, and everyone else too. Yeah, very happy. I think at this stage of the season, the 3 points is the most important thing. It was a questionable performance. I think we are just limping over the finish line now. I think the 2 weeks where we've not played midweek has come at a good time, and it's given us to sort of focus on certain areas in the squad. But yeah, it was a very laboured performance. Attack is obviously where we're struggling at the minute. We're struggling to score goals, certainly more than one goal in each of the games. But our defence is performing very well, thankfully. And we are getting clean sheets. Another clean sheet for De Gea, who secured the Golden Glove as well today, which
He
is
did, yeah. It was
fantastic
great.
to see.
Thanks for reminding me. I had it in my head as we were coming on to the show, but I forgot again. And thanks for reminding me of that. Obviously,
No
we had a
worries.
big conversation about David De Gea over the last few weeks. I'm sure lots of you have been talking about it. And listen, a wonderful performance today. I think he was quite solid. Made some good saves as well when it was needed, and of course, 16 clean sheets. What's happened? Talk to me, Keane.
They drew. It's over. It's 1-1.
Okay, good.
We only need
good.
1 point now from the next
So
2 games.
we only need 1 point from the next 2 games. So listen, we don't want to get carried away, don't want to get complacent, but that's certainly in our own hands. And I think, all being well and good, I know it's going to come and bite me on the arse, which hopefully we get 3 points against Chelsea next week, which Keane, I know you're going to. I want to talk about Jadon Sancho today. Listen, I've had a few conversations with people in group chats and I think people get overly frustrated with him, but I thought he was tidy today. We've got to remember, which I've said on a previous podcast before, that he's not the explosive winger that you get from Anthony, Garnacho, that kind of thing. He's more sort of intricate, taking at the pockets, that kind of thing. But today, 86% pass accuracy, 24 final third passes, 9 ball recoveries, 5 out of 5 grand duels won, 4 out of 4 dribbles completed, and 2 key passes. Now, to me, don't care what anyone says, I would say that it's quite a tidy performance. Keane, what do you think? You with us? He's gone. Jeff, over to you, buddy.
If he had like 50% of Anthony's tracking back, I mean, that would have been much better. Uh, Overall, he kind of slowed down play. I mean, the numbers are numbers, right? It's all data. But if you all look at the overall flow of the game, he kind of slowed it down most of the time, which is his natural tendencies, right?
Yeah.
But he could have done better. I mean, that's why he gets subbed off first. I mean, personally, I was surprised Marshall got subbed off before him, right? But overall, there's a footballer in there in Sancho. He just needs to adapt to what Ten Hag wants him to do. And right now, it's almost there, but I guess let's give him one more season and let's see, right?
Yeah, make or break. I think we're all quite familiar with that. I think next season, if he doesn't go in the summer, I think make or break for him next season. We all know, we were crying out for a right winger at the time at least, and now
Exactly.
we've had Garnacho come through. We've had obviously Anthony been bought. And we needed that kind of relationship on that right-hand side. We thought that Sancho would obviously be giving us that, but it's just not quite happened. And I think it's
Right.
a massive season ahead. But anyway, let's move on to two big performances today in Casemiro and Eriksen. We've seen on a number of occasions. I'll come to you with on that, Nathan. Very, very instrumental, very tidy, dictating the play. And I think that was typical of them today. Casemiro, for example, 93 touches, 80% pass accuracy, 8 long balls completed, a magnificent goal. Really, really great to see. I think we're all above and beyond with that one. 6 ground duels won, 5 tackles, 4 shots, 3 key passes, 3 out of 3 area duels won, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, and 1 goal. An outstanding performance today, don't you think, Nathan?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty typical of those two linking up together. They really did control the middle of the park pretty much the whole way through. And you would expect the goal to come the opposite way around. You'd expect Eriksen to be the one in there putting the ball over the back of his shoulder and stuff like that. But no, Casemiro came up with the goods there. But yeah, absolutely, like professional performance from both of them today. Really, really solid in the middle. And like you say, there was a lot of complaints about Bruno, but I think, like yourself, it wasn't one of his best, but he was still tidy and intricate, and he knew where he needed to be. He wasn't perfect, but he knew where to be. And I think we're definitely a stronger side when those three are all on point. But yeah, I think Bruno just maybe slightly let it down, but I don't think he had a bad game. But yeah, definitely.
This is the thing. I think people are either half glass full or empty, aren't they? Players aren't going to have mediocre games sometimes, and I felt that obviously it wasn't Bruno's best day, but he was instrumental in a lot. He had a wonderful shot, a couple of them actually, and obviously it was kept out, and it was just unfortunate. And what you're going to get with Bruno as his number 10 and his ball progressing ability is that he's going to misplace passes. He's going to take that risk. I've said this, I've banged the drum so many times, and people need to try and see in between that. But anyway, coming to Christian Eriksen then, Freddie, over to you, mate. 90% pass accuracy, 91 touches, 66 passes completed, 7 ground duels won, 5 tackles, 3 long balls completed, 2 key passes. I'm getting good at this, and 1 out of 1 dribbles completed. Over to you, my man.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Thank you.
He's brilliant. When he plays, we're a better team, definitely. Like, his ball progression from defence to attack is brilliant. I don't think there's anyone else in the squad who can do that, really. And the midfield trio of Bruno, Eriksen, and Casemiro, we've got a pretty good record. I think we were unbeaten up until West Ham, but I would put an asterisk on that, given that Bruno was playing right wing that day, or right. So, yeah, we've got a good record with those two in the park. There's a good balance. One of the big positives today from Eriksen, I thought his defensive work was superb.
Yeah,
he was nicking in
good.
with very good tackles, high up the field as well. And like Nathan mentioned, his ball over to Casemiro for the goal was brilliant. Got a bit lucky, Casemiro, with the touch, but superb finish nonetheless. it's a bit for me. The attack's a bit of a concern at the minute, and of course, it's probably going to be the first thing that gets addressed. Hopefully, this summer, once the off the field issues get solved. But Casemiro looked our biggest goal threat today, and it's a bit concerning when your main defensive midfielder is your biggest goal threat.
I was going to say, really, they needed to take a leaf out of his book for his goal.
Yes.
He was anticipating something like that might happen. He was in the right place at the right time, and that's kind of what you kind of need from your strikers, right? And obviously that wasn't visible. And you're right, bit of a concern, wasn't it? Sorry, go on.
No, yeah, absolutely. But look, our midfield and defence, positives all around. So we just need to get to a stage where all three rows are, synchronized and playing well. I mean, then we can go on a bit of a run. But at the moment, we're just a bit disjointed, a bit imbalanced. But we got, like I said earlier, we got the 3 points, which is the main thing. I think Casemiro, Eriksen, and Wan-Bissaka were the stand-up performers for me personally. So I'm sure we'll get a bit more onto that if we do the ratings later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about the defence, obviously another clean sheet today, very tidy at the back. I mentioned a few comments about Lindelof. I think he was excellent against Dave Varane, silently doing the job that he does very, very well. Luke Shaw, obviously, on that left-hand side, and Wan-Bissaka again, also very, very good today. Keane, were you impressed with the defensive four today?
Yeah, I think, look, they were solid for the most part today. I think Raphael Varane especially showed us what we've been missing in the last couple of weeks in terms of his composure and his awareness. He was stellar today. I thought Lindelof was good today. I thought Wan-Bissaka maybe going forward could have done a bit more, especially with crossing and stuff. But look, 1v1 again, exemplary. Like, he's the best 1v1 defender in the world. Like, if you're talking about in a strict 1v1 situation, I think he is the best. But yeah, look, it was a good defensive performance. And look, credit where it's due, and you can clip it up. David De Gea was good today in terms of his saves. It was a far cry from what we've been seeing in the last couple of weeks. He looked assured even on the ball.
Yeah,
he didn't have any shaky moments from a distribution point of view. Well done to him for getting the Golden Glove. Even though like everyone knows my view on it, it's a collective effort. That's the reason why he got the Golden Glove this season. But nevertheless, I thought the back five, if you want to include the goalkeeper, done well today. And look, I think today it was all about just getting over the line, and they didn't will today. Especially in the last 10 minutes, we've seen this team do that a lot in the last kind of 2 months. So it was good to see I suppose that the defense and the goalkeeper stand up when they were needed. But look, big 2 games coming up, and we need to show character now in these next 2.
It's starting to sound like Brendan Rodgers, but yeah, I think we do need a little bit.
It's me off the Leicester job there. They need a permanent manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to talk about Garnacho again. Surprised I didn't see him start today, to be honest with you, but another sort of impactful substitution I felt came on. You can see what he brings, obviously, to the table. Very explosive, took players on very well, and I think I was probably annoying my partner and sort of get, what a lovely touch and all that kind of thing. It was he did really well, and I was really impressed with him. Freddie, you wanted to come in on him, my man?
Yeah, I think his return from injury has come at a vital time. And you can just see the change in the attacking dynamic when he does come on. I think it's good how Ten Hag's using him coming on towards the end of the game's last half an hour, 25 minutes. Using his explosive pace to sort of run at defenders. He's obviously a lot more direct than Sancho, so hence why he gets in those positions and creates those chances. Probably more noticeable than what Sancho does. And some probably part of the reason why Sancho gets criticised, but Sancho's strengths are in other areas, like you alluded to. He's not that tricky winger who takes on defenders. He's better in possession. We're probably better at controlling games with the likes of a Sancho type of player. But I think the main issue is when we don't have Rashford or Garnacho, we haven't got runners in behind defence.
No, we haven't.
And that
exactly
is
right.
It's the biggest issue, honestly, because Martial comes very deep. Anthony always ties back on his left. He always passes backwards. likewise for Sancho as well in certain stages. So when you do have a Garnacho, he will run at defenders, cut back. Same with Rashford. I think we need one of them or one of those type of players in the front line each game, and it's an area which we really need to consider when we do sign a striker because we just don't look a threat without any runners. Quite frankly. And the other thing with the runners, then you utilise the likes of Bruno, your creative players, Eriksen, and even Sancho. I mean, if you compare Sancho, people are comparing Sancho to his Dortmund days to United. That's Sancho at Haaland at Dortmund.
Yeah, exactly.
And others. We haven't got a shot. You're not going to see the best out of him. Certain players need quality players in front of them.
And let's be honest as well. That's a really, really good point. Let's be honest, okay? In the last 2 years where he's been here, the team has been very disjointed. We've had 4 different managers. And you're right, we've not really had that focal point. We've always been asking the question, is Martial going to come back, not be injured, play as the number 9? Is Rashford, obviously we know he's better on the left-hand side, but playing in the 9, do you know what I mean? So, of course he's going to struggle. He's picking up those pockets and trying to feed someone in, i.e. Haaland, which he was doing at Dortmund. Jeff, do you want to come in there, mate?
Yeah, I think with Sancho, because of that lack of, he doesn't have someone to give service to. He has that. A couple of years ago, Rashford had the same, indecisiveness about him, right? So right now, Sancho's, I think, going through that. Like, he has the ball, he knows what to do, but because of the lack of options, he ends up not deciding at all, right? Which happened to Rashford a couple of years back, right? But now, Rashford's been given the confidence, so he's been more decisive now. But Sancho, he needs to make a decision with the ball. Most of the time he doesn't, and maybe because there's no options in front of him. But it isn't there, right? I hope we sort out that sale before the transfer window, so that we get that Sancho that we always wanted from Dortmund. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Could I just add in?
Yeah,
it links into the fullbacks as well. I mean, Wan-Bissaka was playing so high, probably the highest I've ever seen him play for the longest duration of the game today. And it was he looked good for it, but he's obviously been told to cut back when he gets in because we just don't have any strikers in and around the box. So you've got to cut back, and then it just wasn't working today. They were just spawn the defenders all over their box. Yeah, exactly.
Box,
so.
Really. Yeah.
It all, it all interlinks, and it's a real concern. Like I said, we're sort of limping over, and hopefully we address that in the summer because all areas of the pitch will benefit from 1 or 2 quality attackers.
Yeah.
And can
definitely.
I just add one more thing as well? The commentator said today, Martial hasn't scored consecutive league games, I think, for 3 years. So that says it all, really.
I can't remember what the stat was. What was it, Keane? 9 in the last 3 seasons. Was it 9 goals in the last 3 seasons? Something. I mean, listen, he hasn't played much. He's been injured a lot, and obviously that's going to have a massive.
Do you know what? As well with this, Mark, and I don't want to go out criticising your own fan base, but I kind of have to because there's fans on Twitter and a lot of fans who have a platform who are turning their nose up at Harry Kane. You people deserve
understand that.
Oh, no, I'm not saying you. No,
I just don't understand it.
Yeah, like there's people out there who are turning their nose at Harry Kane, and look what he's doing in that dead Tottenham team. And you're telling me that you don't want him. You're looking at Joe Weghorst and Anthony Martial up front. They're not the answer. Why do people turn their nose up at Harry Kane? You look at the striker we have up front right now. You look what Kane's doing in that really bad Spurs team. Like a really bad team. I don't get it.
Yeah, so Harry Kane, actually, after scoring today, 28 Premier League goals this season. That's crazy. And that would have got him the Golden Boot in 92, 93, 96, 97, 98, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2004, 2005. I could go on, right? There's a lot, okay? And listen, I get it. People like to sort of get the new sexy striker that everyone's talking about, 23 years old, whatever. But Harry Kane, he's been there, done that, and I'm all for it. I don't care what anyone says. But Tottenham like to play hardball, so we'll have to see what happens in the summer. But you never know with new owners coming in. we may see something like that where they just don't care and they'll go in, but we'll have to wait and see. Keane and I were talking actually the other day about shows, and obviously the season's coming to an end. Previews obviously won't be happening, reactions won't be happening, but we will be trying to keep you all up to date with things that have been talked about, potentially the takeover and that kind of thing, and some other shows too. So make sure you get involved, get liking and get subscribing. Right. Let's do match ratings, and I'll come over to you first, Nathan. Like and subscribe, as it says as well. David De Gea, your sort of general thoughts on his play today, and a rating, obviously, out of 10.
I mean, I think it was probably today was one of the main reasons we knew, or I knew, going back a few weeks when I was on the last reaction. One of the last reactions I was on, I was saying that I find it really difficult to slate David De Gea, and I think today he just proved that. He had a really solid, really impactful game, and it just goes to show, clinching the Golden Glove once again. I think he's been really, really clinical. There's been obviously games he's not been up to what his normal best. His confidence was low at points, but today he really proved the fact that he is still a top quality goalkeeper in my eyes. I'd give him a really solid 8 out of 10. I think for me.
An 8. That's fair. I can't disagree with you. I think he was solid today, and I think you're absolutely right. His distribution, there was no shaky moments. Made a couple of good saves, and yeah, I can't disagree with you, buddy.
End of the season, a confidence high, I think he is.
Yeah, absolutely right. Aaron Wan-Bissaka then. Freddie, you've spoken about him a little bit, so just round it off for me and a rating for you, please, bro.
I'd give him an 8 as well. Honest, I think he's improved tremendously post World Cup. He's really, I think the good coaching from Ten Hag and the team has really brought the best out of him. I think he's one of our most improved players. His attacking is getting better. Defending is, like Keane mentioned, he's one of the best in the world, if not the best one-on-one. And if he can just tweak his game, get better crosses in, and start getting a few assists, we've got a quality right back on our hands. So yeah, I'd give him an 8 today. Very good performance.
Yeah, and I think you made a really good point earlier with that sort of no focal point, and he's up being asked to cut inside. You can understand that. Sometimes your style of play is affected by the people around you, and I think you're right. I think you'll see more of that, probably more assists if we can get that number 9 and that focal point to come in, as you rightly said earlier. Keane, over to you with Raphael Varane.
Yeah, I give Raphael Varane an 8. I thought he was solid today. Though he won his duels with Solanke. Solanke's actually been playing quite well recently. He's been a really good focal point for Bournemouth in the chase for survival. And I thought, without Harry Maguire playing today, that might be somewhere where we might get exposed. But I thought Varane done well. His last ditch defending was great. And look, as I said earlier, I think he's missing him the last few weeks. And having Luke Shaw left back inside playing centre back, it's really kind of disrupted our rhythm and our ability to play off from the back. And I think we've seen today, having him and Lindelof there, moving Shaw out left back, there was a bit more balance there. So yeah, he really contributed to our 3 points there. I give him an 8.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And listen, we've kind of spoken about on the last few reactions, really. Luke has done a wonderful job playing on that left side of the centre-back, but you can see the difference in class and playing out from the back, and obviously Luke being able to drive forward on the left-hand side, and it does make a major difference. Ten Hag is come out and doing his post-match at the minute, and he said the only criticism is that we didn't kill off the game. We've all spoken about that. We had to produce that second goal, but that's the way that this team are. It's not easy to score goals. It was a great goal from Casemiro. We pinned them back. We didn't let them breathe for the first 25 minutes. David De Gea made a mistake a few weeks ago, but everyone can make mistakes. We defend with 11. That's why we have so many clean sheets. David made some great saves. Goes on to say, I don't care what happens in Liverpool. We don't either. Love that. And we have to do the job. And he goes on to say that. Jeff, have you got anything to sort of say about what you might have said there?
Well, overall, the game wasn't too bad. Again, we all wanted that second, third goal just to, I guess for our own sakes, right? So just to keep our blood pressures down. But it is what it is. 3 points. They were playing a 10-man block most of the time. So as Freddie said, we had no runners. We all had quality behind the ball, but just no one to pass it to until Casemiro made that run. But overall, I guess we should have that same mindset. Like, we don't care what Liverpool does as long as we as we do our job on our end, then we'll be fine, right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, good points, well made. And I'll just come to you on Lindelof. So your view on him and the rating for him, please, buddy.
Could have given him in like an 8.5, but he's an 8 just because of he almost had that particular run. I forget who that striker was, but he had that almost an error in terms of anticipating the run. So, but overall, solid performance. He and Varane had a pretty good chemistry, so that's a good development that we've seen. Um, and he's the more penetrative one in terms of the two center backs. So he gives that other option when Casemiro goes up. So really good performance from him today.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Lots of Windeloff in the group chats. I am sorry. I've only got a couple more reactions, so you don't have to hear all that shit anymore in a couple. Right, moving over to Luke Shaw. I'll come to you, Nathan.
Yeah, another solid performance by him. He's been pretty solid all season. Really, I can't think of many games where he's not really been in it. Like we were saying before, you could really tell the difference between him today and sort of being on that left side of the centre back pairing. But still today, really good, really solid. I can sense a pattern emerging. We've all gone for 8s so far. Every single player we've gone for.
You're going to stick to that, aren't you? I can see it coming.
Stick to an 8. I think it's very difficult to go any lower than that. So I think.
Hey, I don't. There's one player in particular who I have my man of the match. He's not getting an 8. He's getting a higher rating, but might be an 8.2. But we'll have a man of the match.
Very specific.
I like that. Yeah. No, yeah.
It's good. It's good. Just on Shaw, it's good he played today because it was a bit of a scare, wasn't it, in the pre-match? I think he pulled up in the warm-up. So it's whether there was a bit of mind games or not. Good that he saw out the 90 minutes, and we need him for the last few games. So solid performance.
100%. He's been one of our most consistent, as Nathan said. He's been another good performance today. You can see what he brings on that left-hand side. It's just, considering a few years ago with the double leg break and trying to recover from that. And then, of course, Mourinho and all of that side of things, he's done well to come back and pretty much be one of the best left backs in the league. There's absolutely no doubt about that. Let's come to Casemiro and Freddie. Over to you, buddy.
Well, if Keane's going to give his highest an 8.2, I'll give him an 8.3 because I thought he was man of the match.
I was going to give him a 9.
Was he your
sorry, Keane.
There's consensus there. No, look,
well, there you go. At least you're both in agreement. 8.2 and 8.3 for Casemiro. There you go. Great minds think alike.
Usually are, to be honest. Look, he match winner today, and he was back to his best. So he does the defensive work, cleans up, very good at anticipating and getting interceptions in, something that you probably don't see often. Or it's not as widely highlighted. And at the end of the game, he's on the ball, he's spraying passes left and right as well, and stretching the game, especially when Bournemouth are pushing up and going for the goal. So I think his hopefully return to form will get us over the line for Champions League football. And his first goal, I think it was since the League Cup final, has come at a very good time. Man of the match for me. So I'll give him an 8.3, like I mentioned.
So specific. I love that. Yeah, I think he was really good today. Another great stellar performance that we've all become to know and love all season. Really, we know that he had a little bit of a dip in form, but he's bounced back and really sort of driving force of the team, isn't he? Absolutely brilliant stuff. Sorry, Keane, mate, I'd give you the wrong one, obviously, but I'll give you Eriksen. So give me your thoughts on him, please, brother.
I give Eriksen 8.5. I thought he was brilliant today. He dictated play, his defensive work.
Hang on a sec. I thought you were going with Casemiro 8.2, man of the match, and you giving Eriksen
right. I said a minute ago I was going to give him a 9, but I said 8.2 because Nathan said that we're seeing a pattern here.
All right. I got you now. I'm fucking slow on the uptake today, boys. Sorry. Go on, carry on.
No, I give him an 8.5. Look, I think he dictated the game well. That's why he picked out very good passes. Look, the corner, like Trevor saying, corners are dreadful, but you're not going to be dock someone for overall performance for a corner taking, are you? Like, I thought, look, his overall play on and off the ball was good. I think there was one particular situation where Solanke skinned Casemiro and Ericsson made up ground
Yeah, I
and won the
remember
ball
that.
back. And that's not his skill set, is it? Like, so then
No.
look, a very good game for him overall. And it's probably one of his better games since he's come back, because he's been a bit shaky since he's come back. You can see he's probably struggling with the pace of the games since he's come back. So look, I think it's great to see him back in a bit of form, especially like, look, we need, especially these 2 games at home where we're probably going to have more of the ball. It's great to see the Ericsson getting back up to speed, especially that Chelsea game. I think that's massive, especially with the bragging rights on this channel.
I can't wait for that for many
We have
reasons,
to
but
win
I
that
can't
game.
wait for that.
We have to win that fucking game. I'm sorry for my language, Mark, but we have to, because at the end of the day, for all good we've done under Eric Ten Hag this season, like winning the trophy, potentially getting top 4, FA Cup final coming up. If we lose to Frank Lampard's Chelsea, 12th placed Frank Lampard's Chelsea, we will never hear the end of it. They may as well they'll do a parade around London for that one. So we cannot afford that. We cannot fucking afford that. I don't care. We need to go out and win, and we need to do it in style as well.
Yeah, absolutely right. I really hope that's the case. And, considering we can't score at the moment, I'd love a 2-3, 4-0 win. It would be really nice with another clean sheet
great
to add to David De Gea's tally, but we will see. Just coming to this, actually, I mean, it could be Phil Jones. I think you can all remember back in the day of Phil Jones taking corners. But listen, on that note, obviously, I don't know if you've all seen the post yesterday, his heartfelt thanks, wonderfully written. And I think all of us were quite emotional, obviously, reading that. He's had a very, very tough time at United for many, many reasons, illness, injuries, we know the rest. But obviously, everyone, I'm sure, all United fans will wish him the best of luck, and I can imagine he'll probably move into punditry, considering he was on Sky Sports a few weeks ago, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Right, coming to you, Jeff, then over on Jonesy one. Yeah, that's also very, very good point. Coming to you, Jeff, on Bruno Fernandes, please, buddy.
Bruno for me is a 6. Again, it's not a dreadful performance, but I recognize he's a risk taker, but he doesn't have to do those passes as a 10 when he's down deep, right? He can do the risky passes up front, but when he's going down to the defenders and getting that passing option from them, I wish he'd be more careful. He had a couple of passes like that where it just got straight to counter, right? So, but overall he had that good shot as well. And without him, of course, we wouldn't be really orchestrating this offense without him, right? So it's not a terrible game, but it's not his best. So it's a 6 for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Does anyone want to add to that or come in, agree, disagree? Not all at once? No, we'll move on. All right, let's move on to Anthony then. I'll come to you, Freddie.
I was very disappointed with Anthony today, I'll be honest. His lack of right foot is really not acceptable. It's a real problem. Yeah, and I really think that if next season that doesn't develop or he doesn't expand his game, we're in a bit of trouble, because he's not offering much defensively. We're better. We look more well balanced when we play with him. He does track back, which is good. I think he's got a good relationship with Wan-Bissaka. However, attacking today, I mean, there was one point where he was clean through, running, sort of drifting from left to right, and then he had to check back. And in the end, the attack was just gone. The Bournemouth got defenders back, and it came to nothing. Even if he does just go on his left continuously, he needs to go for either the near post. He can't just keep going for that wide post sort of curler. It's just too predictable, and he needs to also just go down the line a bit more. So he started doing it a few weeks ago, and I think he's regressed or just gone a bit back to how he was earlier in the season. I'll give him a 5. It's probably a little bit harsh, but I thought the attacking line wasn't great today, and I was just incredibly frustrated with him, probably the most out of all the attackers. So. Yeah, it's good we got the win. That one chance has unfortunately stayed with me, but there's a lot to work on this summer and next season for him to. But it is his first year. He is young, so hopefully that will come naturally.
Well, this is it. I absolutely agree with everything you said. We don't expect everyone to come in and hit the ground running. I think for his first season in English football, which is a totally different style, totally different teammates, totally different league and team, I think he's done exceptionally well. We have become reliant on him, and listen, players are there to develop the game. Ten Hag's been great at that with many and all the coaches, and I feel that there's certainly massive room for improvement. But I'm absolutely sure that he will improve on that. So we'll have to wait and see. Nathan, I'm going to come over to you and give you two. So on the left hand side, Sancho, and then also Garnacho. Over to you, buddy.
Yeah, like we said earlier, I think like you were saying earlier, Mark, I think the Sancho, this explosive winger that we probably were expecting or comparing to Anthony, we don't really get with Sancho. He was definitely tidy. He wasn't. I don't think he was too complacent. He was professional. I think it's probably the best word. He knew where he needed to be. Yes, it would be nice to see him being that sort of taking players on, doing step overs, and getting into the box and setting up whoever's in there. But no, I'd probably give him. I'd give him a 7, maybe. That might be being a bit generous, or might be being harsh, depending on the way you look at it. But I think, in all honesty, he's done a professional job today, and Garnacho, well, I'll give him the 7 for the time he was on, purely because he was just impactful. As soon as he came on, he was that sort of taking on players sort of winger we were after most of the game. So I think the only reason he probably didn't start is because we're still just monitoring that sort of fitness level and that the injuries. We don't want to risk any more if we can possibly help it. But yeah, I think 2 7s across the board on those two players.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm sure people may agree or disagree. Everyone get your comments as well. It's important. We want you to get involved with the ratings. Loads of you on Twitter as well. So come over to youtube.com/the weekly armchair sports talk. We can't see your comments, and we'd absolutely love to read them out and go through them. Right. Gonna come to you, Kino, then on I'm not gonna give you Weghorst because there's no point. But Martial, over to you, my man.
Give him a 6. I thought, look, there's times I think his decision making let him down. I think that's probably why Eric Ten Hag took him off. His body language wasn't great there either. Yeah, look, he's just frustrating, isn't he? You know the quality and the talent that's there, but I don't know. I don't know what to say about him anymore. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
I think, look, for me, if we put an average, let's say an average, not even average, above average number 9 in this team. Let's say you put a Callum Wilson into this team or Nolly Watkins, right? Let's say, I'm just naming out these two in particular because they're in the top half of the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'd have a much more functional front three and they'd be unreal for us. They'd score a lot of goals in this team. With the chance creation you have of Bruno Fernandes and the likes of Garnacho, linking up playing Rashford, whoever. But man, I swear to God, Martial, he's done, isn't he? Where's he going to go after this? He doesn't look like he's motivated to be a footballer.
Big wages. Obviously hasn't had a good few years. Had a poor loan at Sevilla. It's one of those where we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot. I don't necessarily want him to go. I think there's a wonderful player in there, but we've been having this same conversation for a long time now. If he's surplus to requirements for Ten Hag, which I probably think he is, where's he going to go? And we've had this issue obviously over the last few seasons. Firstly, selling players at all and making a profit, right? So what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
Anyway,
why don't you want him to go, Mark? Why don't you want him to go?
I think it's difficult, isn't it? And I know people would jump on my back for this, a bit like Sancho. He's been given 2 full seasons now, still not quite given what we expect him. But with Martial, he's been very unfortunate with injuries, and I appreciate obviously that's down to maybe his body, the physios, whatever that might be. But I feel like we've seen so many good things from him and the intricate play with Rashford and a number 9 coming in. He's not really a number 9 either, so I feel like he could benefit or something like that as well. And I don't know. I've just got a more positive outlook on him the most. I do think his time is up, but I wouldn't be opposed to him staying and just getting do you know what I mean? If he can keep himself fit, which I know is a big thing and a big question all the time, I just think his technical ability, what he brings to the team, his hold-up play, his link-up play, and I think he's one of the best dribblers in the Premier League on his day, right? And I just think it would be a shame. That's all I'm saying. It would be a shame, but that's just
the thing about it is, Mark, the problem is, and this is not just Martial, I'm not singling him out either here, right? But how many players have we had in the last decade since Fergie left that's on their day? We can't afford to be carrying.
No, you're right. You know, and it's very difficult to delineate between sort of like someone that's gone, needs to go, and you know, your love for a particular player. And I know he's been terrible. I know that his finishing's regressed but it's one of those where it's just going to make me a little bit sad that we didn't get to see the best of what he's got, you know. Anyway, listen, guys, very relatively short one today. Busy evening, unfortunately. But listen, we really appreciate everybody getting involved today, everybody getting involved with the ratings, and of course, you guys for giving me your time as well. Really appreciate all this. So, Keane, Jeff, Freddie, Nathan, thank you very much for today. Thanks to everybody in the comments. As I said, we've got a couple more previews coming up, a couple more reactions. They'll all be done, and we've got loads more coming to you in the summer. But listen, have a great weekend. At least we got the 3 points on the board. We only need another point, and hopefully next week on Thursday, when you see my face and everybody else again, you'll be over the moon with a emphatic win against Chelsea. But until then, we'll see you next time.